All right, we are going to practice some English vocabulary, some intermediate to advanced level English vocabulary. Earlier, we read through chapter 6 of David Copperfield by Charles Dickens, and now I am choosing some words. Oh, whoops. I've got this up already. Where is this? Let me get rid of to have. Where did I put it? Oh, there it is. Okay. So now we're going to practice some of the interesting vocabulary that we learned in chapter 6 of David Copperfield. So let's get started. Now, if you're watching live with me, and I'm trying to monitor the comments, I'm doing this on Rumble for the first time. So let's get started. Now, if you're watching live with me, turn that on mute. So please comment, please ask questions as we go. I will try very hard to read your comments and answer your questions. But let's go. All right. So our first word is acquaintance. Now this word is from chapter 6 of Charles Dickens, David Copperfield. Let me put that up here. Acquaintance. And acquaintance, which is an intermediate level word, is similar to friend, but it's less familiar. So let's see. Maybe you've just talked to that person a little bit, or you know that person's name and their face, but you're not really friends. And this is what an acquaintance is. Let's practice this word. Here's a simple sentence. Mary is friends with John. Let's make a yes-no question with that sentence. Is Mary, is she friends? Is she friends with John? Now let's make a reported speech situation with this question. Is she friends with John? Mark asked her. Mark asked her. Mark asked her whether. Mark asked her whether she is. Now the direct question is she friends with John? That's the question form. But when you're doing reported speech, it's not a question anymore. So you can't use the question form. So is she friends becomes she is friends, back into a sentence, back into a statement. Mark asked her if she is friends with John. Also in reported speech, you do something called backshifting, which means, in this case, you take the present is and you change it to past. If she was friends with John. Mark asked her if she was friends with John. Mark asked her if she was friends with John. He asked her whether she was friends with John. Let's answer no. They're just familiar with each other. They just know each other's faces. They just know each other's names. They're just acquaintances. No, they're just acquaintances. Now let's change this into reported speech. She said. She said no. She said no. She said no, they were. They were just acquaintances. So in the direct speech, they are just acquaintances, but we have to change the present to the past and say they were just acquaintances. She said no, they were just acquaintances. Let's see, Fabian Perez says, good afternoon, nice to watch you again. Hugs for you and thanks. Thank you, Fabian, for watching. Okay, let's see. So they don't have a close relationship. They're not friends, but they know their names. They know each other's names. They're familiar with each other. They're just acquaintances. Okay, let's try another situation using the word acquaintance. Lucy, here's a situation. Lucy got a job at an important company. She got a job at an important company. Listen to me say that in normal speech. She got a job at an, she got a job at an. She got a job at an important company. She got a job at an important company. She got a job at an important company. Let's make a how question with that sentence. She got a job at an important company. How would you make a how get job question? How? How did she? How did she get a? Listen to how that sounds in spoken English. How did she get a? How did she get a? How did she get a job? How did she get a job at an important company? How did she get a job at an important company? How did she get a job at an important company? How did she get a job at an important company? Let's make this a reported speech question. Mike asked her. Mike asked her. Now we have the direct question, how did she get a job? That's a direct question, but when you add Mike asked her, you don't have a question anymore. You have to make a statement. How she got a job. Mike asked her how she got a job. Mike asked her how she got a job at an important company. Now, because it's reported speech and got is in the past, we should change this to past perfect. How she had gotten a job. Mike asked her he asked her how she had gotten a job. How she'd gotten a job. He asked her how she'd gotten a job at an important company. He asked her how she'd gotten a job at an important company. Now this is what Lucy answered. She said, she has a friend at that company. She has a friend at that company. But let's change friend to acquaintance. And so this means they're not really close. Maybe they know each other. Maybe they met each other one time or two times. They know their names. They know the faces. But they're not really good friends. They don't talk on a daily basis. So she has an acquaintance. She has an acquaintance at that company. Let's see. She said she has an acquaintance. She says she has an acquaintance at that company. But now we have to backshift. Now, has is in the present, so we have to change that to past. She had an acquaintance. She said she had an acquaintance. She said she had an acquaintance. She said she had an acquaintance at that company. She said she had an acquaintance at that company. Okay, let's move on to the next vocabulary word from Chapter 6 of David Copperfield. Let me just bring it up here. Let's see. Get rid of acquaintance. And that word is fetch. Again, this is an intermediate level English vocabulary word. And this verb, to fetch, means you go somewhere, you get something, and then you bring it back to the original place. You return to the original place with this thing. Let's see how we can use that in a sentence. Here is a situation. Mike was about to give a presentation in the meeting room. So he was in the meeting room, but he forgot his laptop at his desk. So he told the audience, I will go and get my laptop and then return here. Okay, we can, instead of using all of these words, we can say fetch. So let's change it. I will fetch my laptop. And that means I will go to some other place, bring my laptop to this place where we are now. I will fetch my laptop. Okay, I will fetch my laptop. Let's make a what Mike said question. What did Mike say? What did he say? What did he say? What did he say? He said he will fetch his laptop. Now, when we're doing reported speech, we change will to would. So let's say he said he would. He said he would fetch. He said he would fetch his laptop. He said he would fetch his laptop. He said he'd fetch. He said he would. He said he'd. He said he'd fetch. He said he'd fetch his. He said he'd fetch his. He said he'd fetch his laptop. He said he'd fetch his laptop. Okay, let's try another example using fetch. Here's another situation. Mary was at work and she was very tired. She decided to go down to the cafe and get a large cup of coffee and then return to her workplace, to her workstation. Instead of saying all of this, let's just use fetch. She decided to fetch a large cup of coffee. That means she was going to go to a different place, get the coffee, and then return to the original place. She will fetch a cup of coffee. Now, let's make a what Mary told her colleagues question. What did Mary tell? What did she tell? What did she tell her colleagues? Tell her colleagues. What did she tell her colleagues? What did she tell her colleagues? Now let's make a reported speech answer. She told her colleagues that. She told her colleagues that she would. Remember, you have to change will to would in reported speech. She told her colleagues that she would fetch. She told her colleagues that she'd fetch. She told her colleagues that she'd fetch a cup of coffee. She told her colleagues that she'd fetch a cup of coffee. All right, let's move on to the next vocabulary word. Let's see. Let's just bring it up here. Here we go. Oh no, I forgot snug. We don't have snug. Sorry. The next vocabulary word is to usher. And to usher means to lead someone somewhere, to take someone somewhere, to escort someone somewhere, to lead or to bring someone to another place. Let's see how we can use usher in a sentence. Here is a situation. Mike and Mary went to a restaurant. When they arrived at the restaurant, an employee greeted them. And here's what she said. I will take you to your table. I will escort you to your table. I will bring you to your table. I will lead you to your table, show you where your table is. We can use usher in this situation. I will usher you to your table. So we've got, I will usher you to your table. Now let's take what the employee said to Mike. Let's make a what employee said to Mike and Mary question. What employee said to Mike and Mary question. What did the employee say? What did the employee say to Mike and Mary? What did she say to them? What did she say to him? What did she say to them? What did she say to him? I will usher you to your table. I will bring you to your table. I will lead you to your table. Show you to your table. I will usher you to your table. She said, let's do reported speech. She said she would. She said she'd. She said she'd usher them. She said she'd usher them to their table. She said she'd usher them to their table. She said she'd usher them. She said she'd usher them to their table. She said she'd usher them to their table. Okay, let's try another example. Here's another situation. Mike was telling Mary about his trip to a museum. He really enjoyed the visit. What he liked most about the visit was the tour guide. The tour guide took Mike from room to room and explained everything in detail. So the tour guide led him, escorted him, brought him from room to room in the museum. We can use usher. The tour guide ushered him from room to room. The tour guide ushered him from room to room. He enjoyed the museum because the tour guide ushered him from room to room. Let's make a what John liked about museum question. What did? What did John like? What did he like? What did he like? What did he like? What did he like about the museum? What did he like about the museum? And here's the answer. He enjoyed the museum because the tour guide ushered him from room to room. Now, let's change this into reported speech. He said. Now, our first verb is enjoyed, and it's in the past. So let's change it to past perfect. So we'll change it from enjoyed to had enjoyed. He said that he had enjoyed. He said that he'd enjoyed. He said that he'd. He said that he'd enjoyed the museum. He said that he had enjoyed the museum. He said that he'd enjoyed the museum. He said that he'd enjoyed the museum because the tour guide ushered him. So that's in the past again, ushered. Let's change it to past perfect, had ushered him. He said that he'd enjoyed the museum because the tour guide had ushered him from room to room. Okay, let's move on to the next word, which is feeble. This is another word, another intermediate level vocabulary word that I have taken from my reading of Chapter 6 of David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. Oh, by the way, if you want to see the reading where I explain the meaning of most of the paragraphs and sentences as we read it, I will try to remember to leave a link in the description. I forgot already, but I'll try to add it later if I remember. Okay, so feeble is another word for weak. It's an adjective and it's very similar to the word weak, not strong. Let's see how we can use it in a sentence. Here is a situation. Mary was very sick for a couple of days. During that time, she felt very weak. Let's use feeble instead. She felt feeble during her illness. She felt feeble during her illness. Now, let's make a how Mary felt question. How? How did she? How did she feel? How did she feel during her illness? How did she feel during her? How did she feel during her illness? How did she feel during her illness? How did she feel during her illness? And here's the answer. She felt feeble. Now, let's change this sentence into reported speech. She said. She said she felt feeble. Now, felt is in the past. So in reported speech, you should take felt, which is in the past, and change it to past perfect, had felt. She said that she had felt feeble. We can do a contraction. She said she'd felt. She said she'd felt. She said she'd felt feeble. She said she'd felt feeble. Let's try another example using feeble. The word feeble is often paired with the word attempt. A feeble attempt, making a feeble attempt. That means a poor try. Not very good trying something. Let's try using it that way. Here's a situation. Mike wanted to stop smoking. Okay, actually, he didn't really want to stop smoking, but he felt a lot of pressure to stop smoking. So he tried to stop smoking, but it wasn't a very sincere attempt. It wasn't a very sincere try. He was doing it because people pressured him. So it was a very poor try, a very bad try. It was a feeble attempt, a weak try, a poor try, a feeble attempt. He made a feeble attempt to stop smoking. He made a feeble attempt to stop smoking. Let's say Mary accused him of making a feeble attempt to stop smoking. And let's make a reported speech sentence. John told me that Mary accused him. Now, because accused is in the past, we should change that to past perfect. John told me that Mary had accused him. John told me that Mary'd accused him. John told me that she'd accused him. John told me that she'd accused him of making a feeble attempt. A poor try, a very bad try, a not sincere try. John told me that she'd accused him of making a feeble attempt to stop smoking. All right, let's move on to the next vocabulary word, which is to beckon. This is again an intermediate level vocabulary word, and it's from chapter 6 of David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. And this verb to beckon, it's kind of a combination of call and invite. So beckon is come here, come to me. That's what beckon means. Let's see. Let's see how we can use it in a sentence. Here's a situation. John and Mary are walking down the street looking for a restaurant. Uh-oh. Something has gone horribly wrong. Oh no. Suddenly all of my information is gone. Wait, I think hopefully it's just give me 1 second. I don't know what happened. That's very strange. Okay, hopefully it's still here. Oh, thank goodness. I still have it. Okay. All right. So let me just find beckon here. I have to use something different now. Okay. So let's go back to beckon here. So John and Mary are walking down the street looking for a restaurant where they can have lunch. And Mary suddenly decides to choose a restaurant that they're passing. For no reason. You know, they're saying, where should we eat? And they don't know. But Mary says, let's pick this place. So let's make a why you chose this restaurant question. Why? Why did you choose? Why did you choose this restaurant? Now let's change this into a reported speech question. John asked Mary. He asked her why she chose. So we have why did you choose? That's a direct question, but we have to undo the question and make it back into a statement. Why she chose. He asked her why she chose that restaurant. Now, because chose is in the past, we should probably change that into past perfect, because it's reported speech, and that's what you do normally with reported speech. You change past to past perfect. So he asked her why she had chosen. He asked her why she'd chosen that restaurant. Here's the answer. She said there was a wonderful smell coming from the restaurant. It was calling her, inviting her, come in and eat my food. So we can say the wonderful smell was beckoning her. And that's what beckon means. It means calling, inviting, come here. That's beckoning. The wonderful smell was beckoning her. Now let's make it reported speech. She said the wonderful smell was beckoning her. Now we have the verb was beckoning, and we change past to past perfect. So was becomes had been. She said the wonderful smell had been beckoning her. Come here, come into the restaurant. That's beckoning. Okay, actually that sounds a little bit strange. I don't think I would say that. I think I would just say the wonderful smell was beckoning her, but technically it's changed past to past perfect. She said the wonderful smell had been beckoning her. Come in here. Inviting her, calling her. Let's try another example using beckoning. Mark was walking through a market, and there were many shop owners calling to him. You ever go to a market and they have a lot of people desperate to sell something and they try to pull you into the shop? So what we can say is that the shop owners were beckoning him. Come in here, come on, come in here. So he found an unusual item which he showed to Mary. And Mary wanted to know why of all of the stores did he decide to go into that particular store. Let's make a why he chose that store question. Why? Why did he? Why did he? Why did he choose? Why did he choose that store? Now let's change this into reported speech. She asked him. She asked him. Now the direct question is, why did he choose? But it's not a question anymore. It's a statement, so no more question form. We have to say why he chose. She asked him why he chose. She asked him why he chose. She asked him why he chose that store. Now really, because it's in the past, we should change this to past perfect. Had chosen. Why he had chosen that store. She asked him why he had chosen that store. And the reason that he gave was the shopkeeper was beckoning him. Come on, come in here, come into my store. It's like call, invite. So the shopkeeper was beckoning him. So let's change that into reported speech. He told her that the shopkeeper was beckoning. How would you change that? So was is in the past. Let's change that to past perfect. Had been beckoning. He told her that the shopkeeper had been beckoning him. All right, let's move on to the next vocabulary word, which is flinching. Now, flinching is a reaction that you have when you're afraid. That's flinching. When you're afraid something is going to hit you or harm you. This is another intermediate level vocabulary word that I have chosen from Chapter 6 of David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. Let's practice using this verb to flinch. Let's see. John was explaining a time when a bully was trying to start a fight with him. John didn't want the bully to think he was afraid. So when the bully moved very close to him, he didn't move. He didn't make any movements that would indicate that he was afraid. He didn't flinch. He didn't flinch. Now let's make a why not flinch question. Why? Why didn't he? Why didn't he? Why didn't he flinch? Why didn't he flinch? Now let's change this to a reported speech question. Mary asked him. She asked him. Now the direct question is, why didn't he flinch? But that's the question form. We don't want the question form anymore. This is not a question anymore. So we have to say why he didn't flinch. She asked him why he didn't flinch. She asked him why he didn't flinch. Okay, but because this is in the past, we should change it to past perfect. Why he hadn't flinched. She asked him why he hadn't flinched. She asked him why he hadn't flinched. Okay, and John answered, I didn't want to show fear in front of a bully. Let's change that into reported speech. He said, now we have, I didn't want to show fear. So that's in the past. I didn't want. How would you change that to past perfect? I hadn't wanted to. I hadn't wanted to show fear. You probably wouldn't really say that. You probably would just say, I didn't want to. But let's go along with it anyway. He said that he hadn't wanted to show fear in front of a bully. He said he hadn't flinched because he hadn't wanted to show fear in front of a bully. Okay, let's try another example using the word flinch. Here's another situation. Mary is at the dentist, and the dentist came very close to her with a giant needle, and he wanted to put it in her mouth. As he came close to her with the needle, as he approached her, she flinched. She did that movement. Okay, let's make a why she flinched question. Why? Why did she? Why did she flinch? Why did she flinch? Let's change this to reported speech. The dentist asked her. He asked her. He asked her why she flinched. So, why did she flinch? That's the question form. But this is not a question anymore, so we say why she flinched. He asked her why she flinched. And because it's in the past and we're doing reported speech, we should change flinched into the past perfect form, which would be had flinched. He asked her why she had flinched. We can do a contraction. He asked her why she'd flinched. He asked her why she'd flinched. And Mary answered, because I'm afraid of needles. I'm afraid of needles. Let's change that to reported speech. She said that she was. She said that she was afraid of needles. So in direct speech, she says, I am afraid of needles. But in reported speech, we change it to past. She said she was. She said that she was afraid of needles. Right, let's move on to the next vocabulary. Okay, which is the phrase to have something done. Let me just move this down here. Now, this construction is to have plus object plus past participle. And what this means is when someone does an action for you. A lot of times you use this for professional situations, like a mechanic to fix your car. You can't fix your own car, probably, so you pay a professional to fix your car. And that's when you use this phrase, to have plus object plus past participle, and it means someone does it for you. Let's take a look at some examples of how to do this and what it means. Here's a situation. Here's a problem. Mary's car was broken. Now, if we say Mary fixed her car, that means she did it. Maybe she can fix cars. But I know I can't. I would have to pay someone to fix my car. So instead, we'll use have, and here the object is car. Have her car, and what is the past participle of fix? Fixed. She had her car fixed, and that means a mechanic did it. Somebody else did it. Maybe she paid money for someone to do it. She didn't do it. That's she fixed her car. But we want to say she had her car fixed. Let's make a when question with this sentence. She had her car fixed. How would you make a when question? When did she? When did she have? When did she have her car? When did she have her car fixed? When did she have her? When did she have her? When did she have her car fixed? When did she have her car fixed? Now let's turn that into a reported speech question. Mike asked her. Okay, now the direct question is, when did she have her car fixed? Let's change that back into a statement. When she had her car fixed. Mike asked her when she had her car fixed. Mike asked her when she had her car fixed. Mike asked her when she had her car fixed. Okay, but had is in the past, and when you're doing reported speech, you should change the past into past perfect. And believe it or not, that becomes had had. Mike asked her when she had had her car fixed. He asked her when she had had her car fixed. We can do a contraction. She'd had. He asked her when she'd had her car fixed. He asked her when she'd had her car fixed. Now here's what she answered. She said, I had my car fixed last Wednesday. And let's change that into reported speech. She said she had her car fixed. Okay, but that's past. Let's change it to past perfect. She said she had had her car fixed last Wednesday. She said she'd had her car fixed last Wednesday. She said she'd had her. She said she'd had her. She said she'd had her car fixed last Wednesday. All right, let's move on to the next vocabulary word. Let me just bring that up here, which is to falter. Again, this is an intermediate level vocabulary word that I have chosen from chapter 6 of David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. And the verb to falter means to pause or to hesitate. It has sort of a negative meaning or a negative sound to it. You hesitate because something has gone wrong, or you are afraid, or you are not confident. This is faltering. You pause or you hesitate to do something because you don't have confidence, or you don't have enough strength or stability to do something. Let's see how we can use it in a sentence. Here is a situation. John was giving a presentation, but he was very nervous. But it was very important for him to show confidence. He didn't want people to see that he was nervous. So he didn't pause. He was very careful not to pause or hesitate or look like there was no confidence. So we can say he never faltered. He never paused. He never showed he was nervous. He didn't make any mistakes. He never faltered. During the presentation, he never faltered. He never paused. He never hesitated. Okay, let's make a what. Let's see. Okay, we have to make a what John told Mary question. What John told. How would you make a what John told Mary question? What did John? What did he tell Mary? What did he tell her? 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 And the answer is, this is what he said. During the presentation, I never faltered. During the presentation, I never paused. I never made it look like I was nervous or not confident. During the presentation, I never paused. During the presentation, I never faltered. Let's change this to reported speech. John told Mary, he told her, he told her that during the presentation, he never faltered. Now, faltered, which is the verb, is in the past, so we should really change that to past perfect. he had never faltered. He told her that he had never faltered. He told her that he'd never. He told her that he'd never. He told her that he'd never faltered. Okay, let's try another example using falter. Here's a situation. They made a lot of progress on the project, but they encountered some problems in the middle of the project. Suddenly, things became slower because of these problems. We can say the project faltered. It was paused. It slowed down because of problems. The project faltered. Let's make a why question with the project faltered. Why? Why did the project falter? Why did the project falter? Why did it falter? Now, let's make this into a reported speech question. Mary asked John and Mike. She asked them. She asked him. She asked him. She asked him. Now, the direct question is, why did the project falter? Why did the project falter? But we have to change this now to a statement. Why the project faltered. She asked them why the project faltered. She asked them why the project faltered. Now, faltered is in the past, so we should change that to past perfect. She asked them why the project had faltered. She asked them why the project had faltered. She asked them why the project had faltered. Now, this is how John answered. There were many problems. The project faltered because there were many problems. The project was delayed. It was paused because there were many problems. The project faltered because there were many problems. Now let's change this to a reported speech statement. He said that. He said that the project had faltered. The project had faltered. He said that the project had faltered because there had been. Because there'd been. He said that the project had faltered because there'd been many problems. He said that the project had faltered because there had been many problems. He said that the project had faltered because there'd been many problems. All right, let's move on to the next vocabulary word. We're getting close to the end, don't worry. Thank you for sticking around for all of this time. To secondhand. Okay, let's see. We have secondhand. This is an interesting phrase, and again, it's from chapter 6 of David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. The phrase secondhand means used. Somebody else used it first, and it's not new anymore. And so when you obtain it, it becomes secondhand. Something used, something that is not new. Let's see how we can use it in a sentence. Mary needs a new refrigerator because her old refrigerator is broken, but she doesn't have enough money to buy a new refrigerator at the store. So she went online to look for a used refrigerator, a refrigerator that somebody was using, but now they want to sell it, so it's not new. Okay, so she bought a second-hand refrigerator, a used refrigerator. It's not new. It's not from the store. It's from somebody's home. Let's make a where Mary found second-hand refrigerator question. Where did Mary, where did she find a second-hand refrigerator? Where did she find a second-hand refrigerator? Now, let's make a reported speech question. Mike asked Mary. He asked her. He asked her. He asked her. Now the direct question is, where did she find? That's a normal question form. But this is not a question anymore, so we have to change it to the statement form, which is where she found. Mike asked her where she found. Mike asked her where she found a secondhand refrigerator. And because it's reported speech, we should change found, which is in the past, to the past perfect, where she had found. Mike asked her where she had found a second-hand refrigerator. Mike asked her where she'd found. Mike asked her where she'd found a second-hand refrigerator. Let's see. This is what she answered. She said, I found the second-hand refrigerator on a website. On a website. I found the second-hand refrigerator on a website. Now, let's change it to reported speech. She said that she had found. She said that she'd found. She said that she'd found the second-hand refrigerator. She said that she'd found the second-hand refrigerator on a website. On a website. She said that she'd found the second-hand refrigerator on a website. Let's try another example using second-hand, which means used, not new. Somebody owned it before. John wanted to buy a car. That's our situation. But he doesn't like new cars. He prefers cars that have already been driven, already been used. That's a real thing, by the way. Some people think it's a better idea to buy a car that's already been driven instead of a new car, because sometimes new cars have problems, but a used car, a second-hand car, apparently, I don't know anything about cars, but I've heard that used cars, second-hand cars, are better because usually all of the little problems, all the little bugs have been worked out of the car. So that's John. John prefers second-hand cars. Let's make a why prefer second-hand cars question. Why does John, why does he prefer second-hand cars? Why does he prefer second-hand cars? Now, let's change this from a direct question to a reported speech question. Mike asked John. He asked him. He asked him. He asked him why he preferred. Why he preferred. He asked him why he preferred. He asked him why he preferred second-hand cars. Now, most of the time in reported speech, if you have something in the past, you have to change it to the past perfect. So let's change preferred to had preferred. He asked him why he had preferred. He asked him why he'd preferred. He asked him why he'd preferred. He asked him why he'd preferred second-hand cars. He asked him why he'd preferred second-hand cars. And this is how John answered. I prefer second-hand cars because I think they're more reliable. I prefer second-hand cars because I think they are more reliable. Now let's change this from a direct statement to a reported speech statement. He said that he preferred, he said that he had preferred, he said that he had preferred second-hand cars because he thought they were, I'm sorry. I have the right answer written down here and I'm changing it live when I shouldn't be. Okay, let me read what I wrote, which is right, instead of what I'm saying, which is wrong. He said, because he says, I prefer second-hand cars because they are more reliable. We'll change present to past. He said, he said he preferred, he said he preferred, he said he preferred secondhand cars. He said he preferred secondhand cars because he thought, because he thought, because he thought. He said he said he, because he thought. He said he preferred secondhand cars because he thought they were, because he thought they were more reliable. He said he preferred secondhand cars because he thought they were more reliable. Okay, moving right along to our next vocabulary word. Again, this is from Chapter 6 of David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. It's an intermediate level vocabulary word, and that word is boisterous. Boisterous is an adjective which means loud, lively, making a lot of noise, enthusiastic. Let's see how we can use it in a sentence. Here is a situation. John came into work very tired. Now, let's see. Mary asked him the following question. Why are you tired? Now let's change this to a reported speech question. Mary asked him why you are tired. Okay. Or why he is, let's see. Again, I'm trying to do this out of my head instead of reading, which is what I should be doing. Okay, wait. She asked him why he is tired. She asked him, so the direct question is, why are you tired? Are you tired? Is he tired? But we have to use the sentence form, the statement form. He is tired. She asked him why he is tired. And because it's reported speech, we really should be changing he is tired to the past, is to was. She asked him why he was tired. She asked him why he was tired. Okay, John explained that his neighbors had a very loud, energetic, fun party last night. But instead of using all these words, loud, energetic, fun, we can use boisterous. My neighbors had a boisterous party last night. And that word means loud, a lot of noise, a lot of fun, a lot of energy. My neighbors had a boisterous party last night. Now we can imagine this loud group of people having a great time next door while poor John is trying to sleep. My neighbors had a boisterous party last night. Let's make that into a reported speech sentence. He said that his neighbors, he said that his neighbors had a boisterous party last night. Okay, now had is in the past. And we really should, if we're doing reported speech, we really should change the past into the past perfect. The past perfect of had is had. So he said that his neighbors had a boisterous party last night. He said that his neighbors had a. He said that his neighbors, he said that his neighbors had a. He said that his neighbors had a boisterous party last night. Lively, full of energy, a lot of noise. Let's try another example. Here is a situation. Mary was telling John that she was looking forward to the training session. Let's make a why you are looking forward to training session question. Why are you? Why are you? Why are you looking forward? Why are you looking forward to the? Why are you looking forward to the training session? Now let's change this to a reported speech question. He asked her. Now the direct question is, why why is she? But we want to change that to why she is, because it's not a question anymore, it's a statement. He asked her why she is looking forward to the training session. He asked her why she's looking forward to the training session. Now, because it's reported speech, we really should change is to was, change present to past. He asked her why she was. He asked her why she was. He asked her why she was looking forward to the training session. This is what Mary said. She heard a lot of loud, happy, enthusiastic laughter coming from the training room. So it sounded fun. Okay, now what is another word that we can use for happy, loud, enthusiastic? We can say boisterous. She heard boisterous laughter coming from the training room. She said that she heard, let's do reported speech. She said that she heard, heard is the past of hear, so let's change it to past perfect. She said that she had heard. She said that she'd heard boisterous laughter coming from the training room, and it sounded fun. She said that she'd heard boisterous laughter coming from the training room, and it sounded fun. All right, let's move on to our next vocabulary word. Just have a few more left. And that is to smuggle. This is another intermediate level vocabulary word that I have chosen from Chapter 6 of David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. To smuggle. And smuggle is a verb, and it means to hide something that is prohibited, that is forbidden, and to take it to this place where it is prohibited and forbidden. It's usually a criminal thing, smuggling. So, for example, drug smugglers hide drugs and they take them across borders or into places where drugs are prohibited. That's a drug smuggler. So smuggling is hiding something and then going somewhere with that thing where it is prohibited. Let's see how we can use it in a sentence. Here's a situation. John likes to go to the cinema. He likes to go to the movies, but he doesn't like to pay the very expensive prices for drinks and snacks. I used to do this when I was little. So he hides some snacks and drinks in his bag, and he goes into the movie theater with those items. Now that is prohibited. You're not supposed to do that. He smuggles snacks in his bag. Let's make a where question. Let's see. Let's make a where he got snacks from question. Where he got snacks from question. Where did he get? Where did he get the snacks from? Where did he get the snacks from? Where did he get the snacks from? Now let's make this into a reported speech question. Lucy asked him. She asked him. She asked him. She asked him where. Now the direct question is, where did he get? That's a direct question. Where did he get the snacks from? This is not a question anymore, so we have to eliminate the question form. Where he got the snacks from. She asked him where he got. She asked him where he got. She asked him where he got. She asked him where he got the snacks from. She asked him where he got the snacks from. Let's see. He answered. I smuggled them into the theater. That means he put them somewhere in his bag so no one could see, and he went into this place where they were prohibited. I smuggled them into the theater. Now let's change this into reported speech. He said that he smuggled them. Because this is in the past, we should change smuggled to past perfect. He said that he had. He said that he had smuggled them. He said that he'd smuggled them into the theater. He said that he'd. He said that he had. He said that he'd. He said that he'd smuggled them into the theater. He said that he'd smuggled them into the theater. Okay. Super duper. Let's try another example using smuggle. Here's a situation. Lucy was taking a test at school, but she didn't study for the test and she decided to cheat. She made a cheat sheet. That's when you write all of the answers to the test on a little piece of paper and then you hide it somewhere, and while you're taking the test you look at the answers. That's a cheat sheet. Okay, obviously a cheat sheet is prohibited when you're taking a test. So she smuggled a cheat sheet into the classroom. That means she hid it so no one could see, and she brought it into this prohibited space. She smuggled a cheat sheet into the classroom. Let's make a how question with that sentence. How? How did she? How did she smuggle? How did she smuggle a cheat sheet? How did she smuggle a cheat sheet into the classroom? Now let's change this into a reported speech question. John asked her. John asked her. He asked her. Now the original question in the direct form is, how did she smuggle? But we don't have a question anymore. This is a statement. John asked her, not how did she smuggle, but how she smuggled. It's a statement form, how she smuggled the cheat sheet into the classroom. But because this is in the simple past, when you're doing reported speech, you change simple past into past perfect. She had smuggled. He asked her how she had smuggled the cheat sheet into the classroom. He asked her how she'd smuggled. He asked her how she'd smuggled the cheat sheet into the classroom. Let's see. How did she answer? I've lost my place. She said, okay, her answer was she hid it. She hid it in her bag. This will sound funny in spoken English. She hid it in her. 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 She hid, that's the past of hide. She hid it in her bag. She hid it in her bag. Hid it in her. Hid it in her. She hid it in her bag. Now let's change this into a reported speech situation. She said. She said that she had. She said that she had hid it in her. She said she'd hid it in her. She said she'd hid it in her bag. She said that she had hid it in her bag. She said that she'd hid it in her bag. She said that she'd hid it in her bag. She said that she had hid it in her bag. She said that she'd hid it in her bag. That's fun to say. We can use smuggle. She smuggled it in her bag. She had smuggled it in her bag. She said that she'd smuggled it in her bag. She said she'd smuggled it in her bag. She smuggled it in her bag. She smuggled it in her bag. She said that she'd smuggled it in her bag. All right, let's move on to the next phrase. Just a few more left, and then we're done. Let's see. And that is the expression to make something stretch. Stretch is when you, let's see, maybe we should just pull up a picture of stretching in case you don't know that word. Let's see, stretching. It's easier, I think, to show pictures of stretching. It's used for physical fitness. So, for example, Let me just show you this picture here. These are stretches. These are people stretching. Let's see. But let's show something else. This is also stretching. See, like this rubber band is stretching. So it's kind of like taking something small and trying to make it bigger is what stretching is. Making it cover more area. What else? Do we have any other stretching? No, they mostly just show people stretching, but you can use it in a lot of different ways. Okay, but the expression to make something stretch means to make something that is limited last a long time. So, for example, if you make money stretch, that's because you have very little money and you're trying to make it cover a lot of area. And Enosh Sherry says thanks. Thank you for watching, Enosh. Let's see. So let's see how we can use this in a sentence. Making something stretch, making something small cover a big area. It's a very common phrase, actually. So here's a situation. John lost his job. Now he had $5,000 in the bank, but he didn't know how long it would take to until he would get a new job. So he was very worried because maybe $5,000 sounds like a lot of money, but if it will take several months before he finds a job, he has to make that money stretch. He has to make that $5,000 cover a very big area. He had to make his money stretch. So he was very careful with that $5,000 because he didn't know when he would get more money. He didn't know when he would get a new job. Let's make a how made his money stretch question. How made his money stretch? How did he make, how did he make his money stretch? Cover a big area. How did he make his money stretch? How did he make his money stretch? How did he make his money stretch? Now let's make this into a reported speech question. Lucy asked him. She asked him. Now the direct question is, how did he make? Okay, that's the question form. But we are not asking a question anymore, so we have to make this the statement form. How he made. She asked him how he made his money stretch. She asked him how he made his. She asked him how he made his. She asked him how he made his money stretch. Now, because this is reported speech, we should change the past made to the past perfect, had made. She asked him how he had made his money stretch. She asked him how he'd made. She asked him how he'd made. She asked him how he'd made his. She asked him how he'd made his money stretch. She asked him how he'd made his money stretch. She asked him how he had made his money stretch. She asked him how he'd made his money stretch. This is how he answered. He made his money stretch by being very careful. He made his money stretch by being very careful. Now let's change this to reported speech. He said that he had made. He said that he'd 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 made his. He said that he'd made his. He said that he'd made his money stretch by being very careful. He said that he had made his. He said that he'd made his. He said that he'd made his money stretch by being very careful. He He said that he'd made his money stretch by being very careful. Okay, let's try another example using this expression to make something stretch, which means make something last a very long time because you don't know if you have enough or you're afraid you won't have enough of it in the future. Here's a situation. Mike and John went camping for 1 week. Now they could only bring a little food because they had to carry it while they were camping. So they had to be very careful about how much food they ate every day. They had to make their food stretch. Let's make a how made their food stretch question. How? How did they? How did they make? How did they make their food? How did they make their food stretch? Now, let's make a reported speech question. Mary asked them. She asked them. She asked them. She asked them. She asked them. Now, the direct question is, how did they make? But this is not a question anymore. This is a statement. She asked them. So we don't use the question form. We have to use the statement form. How they made. She asked them 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 how they made their food stretch. Now, because it's reported speech, we should change made, which is in the past, to past perfect. Had made. She asked them how they had made. She asked them how they'd made. She asked them how they'd made their food stretch. She asked them how they'd made their food stretch. Okay, and this is how they answered. We were very careful. We were very careful. Now let's change that to reported speech. They said that they had made. They said that they'd made. They said that they'd made their food stretch. They said that they'd made their food stretch by, or let's say because. They said that they'd made their food stretch because they had been. Because they'd been very careful. They said they'd made their food stretch because they'd been very careful. All right, you're doing a great job. Just stick with me a little while longer. We've got 2 more, and then we're finished. So let's bring up the next vocabulary word here, which is obstinate. And obstinate, again, this is an intermediate level English vocabulary word, and I have chosen it from chapter 6 of my reading of David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. And that word is obstinate. Obstinate is an adjective, and it means stubborn, somebody who resists change or refuses to do something, and you can't convince them to do it. So let's see how we can use it in a sentence. Here is a situation. Mary was in a very bad mood because the company where she works was purchased by another company, and they changed all of the rules and procedures. Okay, she didn't like that. She wanted the old things. She liked the old ways. She doesn't like the new ways. She refused to do the new things. So Mary was fired. Because she was obstinate, she was fired. Because she was stubborn and refused to change, she was fired. Let's make a why Mary fired question. Why? Why was she? Why was she fired? Why was she fired? Let's change that into a reported speech question. Oh, so Cherie says obstinate is a French word, so he recognized it. Yes, that's right. It is a Latin word, so if you speak Spanish or French or Italian, you probably understand that word. So that's good. A lot of the words that we use in English from French are pretty advanced words, actually. So if you know French, you already have a very large advanced vocabulary in English. Okay, so we have, where was I? Okay, so we have why was she fired? And let's change that into a reported speech question. John asked Lisa. He asked her. He asked her. He asked her why she was. He asked her why she was fired. And here is the answer. Because she was obstinate, meaning she refused to change. She was stubborn. She resisted the change. She was fired because she was obstinate. Now let's change this into a reported speech situation. Lisa said. She said. She said that. She said that she was fired. Okay. Now she said that she was fired. Let's change the verb was, which is in the simple past, because it's reported speech. Let's change it to past perfect. She was fired. She had been fired. She said that she had been fired. She said that she'd been. She said that she'd been fired. She said that she'd been fired because she was obstinate. She was obstinate. Reported speech, let's change was to past perfect. She had been. She had been obstinate. She said that she'd been fired because she'd been obstinate. Okay, let's try another example. Here's another situation. Little Mikey hates vegetables. His mother tries to make him eat vegetables, but he resists. He refuses. He says no to eating vegetables. Because he is resisting, because he is stubborn, we can say that little Mikey is obstinate. Little Mikey is obstinate and won't eat his vegetables. Because of this, his mother punished him. She made him go to his room. Go to your room if you won't eat your vegetables. Little Mikey is being punished. He is being punished. Let's make a why question with he is being punished. Why? Why is he? 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 Why is he being? Why is he being? Why is he being? Why is he being punished? Why is he being punished? Now let's change this to a reported speech question. The father asked the mother. He asked her. He asked her. Now the direct question is, why is he being? Okay, but we don't want to use the question form because we don't have a question anymore. So we have to change it to why he is. Statement form, why he is being punished. He asked her why he is being punished. Why he is being. Why is he being why he's being punished. He asked her why he's being punished. Why he's being punished. Why he's. He asked her why he's being punished. Now, because it's reported speech, we should change the is, which is in the present, to was, the past. He asked her why he was being punished. He asked her why he was. He asked her why he was being punished. Okay, and the reason is because he is obstinate. But let's change this, Let's change this to reported speech. We'll say, she said. She said he is obstinate and will not eat his vegetables. Okay, but we're doing reported speech, so let's change is to was. She said he was obstinate. Now in reported speech, you change will to would. She said he was obstinate and would not eat his vegetables. And wouldn't eat his vegetables. And wouldn't eat his. And wouldn't eat his. And wouldn't eat his vegetables. She said he was obstinate and wouldn't eat his vegetables. She said he was obstinate and wouldn't eat his vegetables. She said he was obstinate and wouldn't eat his vegetables. All right, one more, and then we are finished. Oh, it's an hour and a half. That's pretty long. Okay, our final word of the day is wretched. And again, this is an intermediate level vocabulary word that I have chosen from chapter 6 of my reading of David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. And this adjective, wretched, means horrible or miserable, in very bad condition, poor quality. Let's see how we can use this in a sentence. Here is a situation. John and Mary had to finish a big project by Monday. So they worked all day and all night on Saturday and Sunday. They didn't sleep. They worked 24 hours all day on Saturday, all day on Sunday, and they finished the project. But on Monday morning, they looked horrible. they looked really tired. Their hair, they didn't take a shower, they didn't dress very well. It was very obvious that they were tired, in a bad state, in very bad condition. They looked wretched. They looked horrible. They looked like in very bad condition. Now let's make a why question with they looked wretched. Why? Why did they? Why did they? Why did they look? Why did they look wretched? Why did they look wretched? Now let's change this direct question, why did they look wretched, or what did I do here? Okay, I made a mistake. I'm just trying to figure out what I wrote here. Okay, let's start over. So we have why did they look? Why did they look wretched? Okay, now let's change this to a reported speech question, from a direct question to reported speech. The big boss asked Lisa. The big boss asked her. He asked her. He asked her. He asked her why they looked wretched. Okay, but because looked is in the past, and this is reported speech, we should change this to past perfect. He asked her why they had looked wretched. He asked her why they looked wretched. He asked her why they looked wretched. And the answer is because they worked all day and night, all weekend. They looked wretched because they worked day and night all weekend. Let's change this to a reported speech statement. Lisa replied. Lisa replied that they had looked wretched. Lisa replied that they'd looked wretched because they had worked. Lisa replied that they'd looked wretched because they'd worked all weekend. She replied that they'd looked wretched because they'd worked all weekend. All right, here's another situation. John lives in a horrible, dirty apartment in very bad condition. In other words, John lives in a wretched apartment and he wants to move. Let's make a why want to move question. Why? Why does he? Why does he? Why does he? Why does he want to? Why does he want to? Why does he want to move? Why does he want to move? Why does he want to move? Now let's change this to a reported speech question. Mary asked John. She asked him. She asked him. She asked him. Now, the direct question is, why does he want to? But we're not asking a question anymore. We're making a statement. She asked him why he wants. We have to use the statement form. She asked him why he wants to move. Now, because this is in the present, wants, she asked him why he wants to move, we have to change that to the past. She asked him why he wanted. She asked him why he wanted. She asked him why he wanted. She asked him why he wanted to move. 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 And the answer is, let's see, I want to move because my apartment is wretched. Horrible, bad condition, bad state. I want to move because my apartment is wretched. Let's change that into reported speech. He said that he had wanted. He said that he'd wanted. He said that he'd wanted. He said that he wanted to move because his apartment. He said that he wanted to move because his apartment was wretched. He said that he had wanted to move because his apartment was wretched. He said that he'd wanted to move because his apartment. He said that he wanted to move because his apartment. He said that he wanted to move because his apartment was wretched. All right, we are finished for today. That's it for the vocabulary from Chapter 6 of David Copperfield. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and I hope that next time you tune in, and we will practice more advanced and intermediate level vocabulary words together. All right, see you next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.